Imagine being hired to help a friend solve a family problem, and after several months, the plan completely fails. Now imagine that the person who hired you decides to take you to court because you didn't achieve the result you were hired for. That sounds like something from a movie. But a bizarre throwback story circulating online claims that a man was hired by his friend to help his wife become pregnant, and after 77 unsuccessful attempts, the man was allegedly sued. Yes, 77. But before we get carried away by the shocking headline, there is something important to understand. The story is circulating as a throwback account, and the online discussion contains plenty of speculation. I could not independently verify all of the details from a reliable primary news report. So today, we are going to separate the reported story from the claims and reactions surrounding it. Let's get into it. According to the story circulating online, a married couple had been unable to have a child. Instead of pursuing medical options, the husband allegedly approached a friend and asked him to help his wife become pregnant. The arrangement was supposedly based on the expectation that the friend's involvement would result in a pregnancy. But things didn't go according to plan. According to the circulating account, months passed without a pregnancy. And eventually, the number of unsuccessful attempts was reportedly said to have reached 77. That's where the story becomes even more unusual. The headline claims that the husband eventually sued the man he had hired. The basic argument, according to the circulating story, was that the man had been brought in specifically to achieve a particular result, but that result never happened. The alleged lawsuit is what turned an already bizarre story into something people couldn't stop talking about. Online commenters immediately began asking questions. Was there actually a written agreement? What exactly had the man promised? Could someone legally be held responsible for failing to cause a pregnancy? And perhaps the biggest question: who came up with this arrangement in the first place? Here's where we need to slow down. The Neroland thread where this story is currently circulating contains many comments questioning whether the account is genuine and asking for a source. Neroland. That's important. Because when a story is this extraordinary, the headline alone isn't enough. We need to know: where did the story originally come from? When did the alleged lawsuit happen? Which court handled it? Was there actually a judgment? And what were the names of the people involved? Without reliable answers to those questions, we should treat the story as an unverified throwback account, rather than established fact. There is also an important lesson hidden inside the bizarre story. Difficulty becoming pregnant can involve many different factors. It isn't automatically a sign that the woman is responsible. And it isn't automatically a sign that the man is responsible either. Fertility can involve factors affecting either partner. That's why modern medical evaluation generally looks at both people rather than simply blaming one person. In a real-life situation involving difficulty conceiving, qualified healthcare professionals can investigate possible causes and discuss appropriate options. That is very different from relying on an informal arrangement between friends. The number 77 is probably the detail that made this story go viral. People naturally ask, who was counting? And the comment section has certainly had plenty of jokes about that. But there's another reason the number should make us pause. When a story contains an unusually precise and extraordinary figure, it's worth asking where that figure came from. Was it documented? Was it reported by someone directly involved? Or did the number simply become part of an exaggerated retelling over time? That's why responsible storytelling matters. A viral number isn't automatically a verified number. The current Neroland discussion shows just how differently people are interpreting the story. Some commenters are laughing at the bizarre circumstances. Others are questioning whether the story is even real. Some are discussing fertility and medical alternatives. And others are using the story to debate relationships, marriage, and trust. One thing is clear. The story has generated enormous curiosity. But online comments aren't evidence. A comment from someone saying, "This happened," doesn't independently prove that it happened. And a comment saying, "This is fake," doesn't automatically prove that it is fake either. We need actual evidence. Beyond the shocking headline, this story touches on something that many families experience: difficulty having children. Infertility can be emotionally difficult for couples and families. And unfortunately, people sometimes respond to it with blame, pressure, or shame. That can make an already difficult situation even harder. The healthier approach is to seek qualified medical advice and discuss the available options together. Nobody should be reduced to their ability or inability to have children. This is another area where we need to be careful. The headline says the hired man was sued. But a lawsuit and a successful legal judgment are not the same thing. Even if someone files a lawsuit, that doesn't automatically mean the person being sued is legally responsible. A court would have to examine the facts, the agreement between the parties, the applicable law and the evidence presented. And without reliable court records or a reputable report detailing the case, we shouldn't claim to know what the court ultimately decided. Now imagine you're the husband. You've been trying to have a child. You ask someone you trust for help. Months pass. There's still no pregnancy. Would you blame the person you asked for help? Would you seek medical testing? Would you investigate other possible causes? Or would you simply end the arrangement? And then imagine being the person who was supposedly hired. Would you understand the agreement as a guarantee? Or were you only expected to make an effort? Those questions show why the story is much more complicated than its sensational headline suggests. So there you have it. A bizarre throwback story circulating online claims that a man was hired to help his friend and the friend's wife have a child, but after a reported 77 unsuccessful attempts, the husband allegedly took legal action. Netherlands. However, the available material I found does not provide enough reliable evidence to independently confirm every detail of the story. And that's an important lesson for anyone making news content. A shocking headline can attract millions of views. But your job as a news commentator should be to ask, is it verified? Where did the story originate? What evidence supports it? And what parts are simply internet speculation? Because getting views is important, but credibility is what keeps a news channel alive. So, what do you think about this strange story? Do you believe the account, or do you think more evidence is needed before accepting it as true? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoy Nigerian and African news stories explained beyond the headline, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video.